Welcome to Morbid Minute, where we delve into the darkest corners of human history. Today we explore the chilling life and crimes of Pedro Rodrigues Filho, also known as Pedrinho Matador. Born in 1954 in Santa Rita do Sapucaí, Brazil, Pedro's life was marked by violence from the very beginning. Rodrigues was born on a farm, south of Minas Gerais. His skull had been bruised as a result of his father kicking his pregnant mother's belly during a fight. He claimed he felt the urge to kill for the first time at age 13, when in a fight with an older cousin, he pushed the young man into a sugarcane press, almost killing him, and had considered leaving him there to die before electing to save him. His father was an alcoholic and extremely abusive towards both Pedro and his mother, beating them both regularly in fits of drunken rage. Pedro's first taste of blood came at the age of 14 when he killed the vice mayor of his town, whom he believed had fired his father unjustly. He then went on to kill another man he suspected of being the actual thief. This was just the beginning as Pedro's killing spree continued to escalate. A woman that Pedro was living with, named Maria Aparecida Olimpia, or nicknamed Botinha, was forced upon and murdered by a local gang member, still underage. Rodrigues began a revenge-killing spree by tracking down and killing every member of the rival gang, in which he was successful. After this, with no direction, he began to target drug dealers, rapists, and other criminals, earning him the moniker the Brazilian Dexter. Sometime before he turned 18, Pedro got word that his mother had been killed, and upon his return, he learned that his father was the killer. Pedro found out where he was imprisoned and went to visit him, promptly murdering his father once they were alone in his cell. Pedro then cut his father's heart out and took a bite, before escaping the prison without being caught. When he was finally arrested, he was reported to have killed another prisoner in the transport wagon by biting at his neck and face, while handcuffed behind his back, claiming the man deserved it. Pedro's reign of terror escalated even further once he was imprisoned. Instead of stopping, his bloodlust grew. Arrested in 1973, Pedro was sentenced to 128 years in prison. However, due to the Brazilian legal system's policies on concurrent sentences, he was eligible for parole after serving just a fraction of his sentence. He served 34 years in prison before his release in 2007. Inside prison, Pedro continued his deadly path, with reports of him having killed around 47 inmates during his incarceration. In one notorious incident, he killed a fellow inmate who he believed was a child molester. Pedro claimed he targeted criminals specifically to avenge their victims, blurring the lines between justice and vengeance. He became a subject of fascination in the media, and his life story was featured in documentaries and articles exploring the psychology of serial killers. After his release from prison in 2007, Pedro took on a surprising new role. He became a YouTuber, using his platform to urge people to stay away from a life of crime. His channel, Pedrinho Matador, featured commentary on modern crimes and aimed to educate the public about the consequences of criminal behavior. Despite his dark past, he sought to reform and contribute positively to society. Pedro's story took another twist when he was imprisoned again in 2011 for inciting a riot and deprivation of liberty. He served an additional 7 years before being released in 2018. After his second release, he continued his efforts to steer others away from crime until his death. On 5 March 2023, Rodrigues was shot and killed by 2 men firing from a car in Mogi das Cruzes, who then fled in another car. No suspects have ever been arrested in relation to his murder. Pedro Rodrigues Filho's story raises important questions about justice, morality, and the consequences of violence. He remains a controversial figure, seen by some as a vigilante and by others as a cold-blooded murderer. The story of Pedro Rodrigues Filho is not just about the acts of a serial killer. It's a reflection of societal issues that continue to resonate today. As we examine his life, we confront the darker aspects of human nature and the question of what drives a person to commit such heinous acts. Thank you for joining me in exploring this harrowing tale. This has been Morbid Minute.